Hi. For those who don't know me, I'm Brother Sean. No, I'm not a cross-dresser. Well, I could be a spiritual cross-dresser. But I'm basically and simply an enclosed contemplative lay monastic who embraces the teachings of the cosmic Christ, following in the footsteps, hopefully, of Francis, that incredible 12th century mystic Francis of Assisi. We are in an exciting period of our evolution. What? If you look all around you, you will see events happening where you live and around the world that have never ever been witnessed before. Take, for example, the recent major event that hit the East Coast of America. 3 major events culminating in pure disaster, displacing thousands upon thousands of people. The cold air from the northwest, from Canada, attacking the Gulf Stream, and from the south, Hurricane Sandy, that crippled most of the East Coast and 6 states of America. And then again, within days in India, another cyclone. Wherever we look today, the earth is in revolt. Now come on, you don't need a PhD in science. The universe has been so intoxicated by man's inhumanity to man. When I watched the late newsreels from ABC TV about some of the major events that happened during Hurricane Sandy, there was one guy who was bereft because a tree destroyed his car. What would have happened had it have destroyed his partner or family? And okay, it's a flippant example, but today we have become absorbed, preoccupied by our apps, our iPhone, our iPad, our mobile. Thank God for communication, yes. But it's eating away at our quality time. We are becoming codependent on materialism. And instead of improving the divine connectedness between our heart to our soul and our soul to the mystical heart of God, many are running away. No, many have run away. The ordinary man in the street looks to religious leaders for guidance. What do they get? Dogma, fear. If you don't do it our way, you're out. Look at the problems in Syria. 2 factions of Muslims, our brothers and sisters, sons and daughters of the same God, killing one another. Why? Injustice. Where are the religious leaders? They should be mediating on behalf of the Holy Prophet Muhammad. But no, they're stuck. The Christian church is the same. Within Buddhism, there are factions. In every world religion, there's disharmony. In most families, there is disharmony. In most countries, there is disparity and disharmony. There is a hunger for justice and righteousness. And now we're being blasted by the presidential campaign in America. 2 opposing sides destroying the integrity of the other for the sake of a vote. Is that what 2012 represents? No, it's not. The media controls the mind. Of course it does. It feeds us a lot of good information, but it's holding many of God's children in fear. There is that cloud of unknowing. But please, listen to me. Many people are writing about 2012. Some fanatics and extremists have gone to the extent to say that it is the end of the world. Well, it's the end of a world we know, which is run by ego, by power, by fear. On the 21st of December 2012, the Piscean age ends and the dawn of Aquarius begins. It was foretold by the prophets, by ancient civilizations and indigenous peoples. We have the proof, but do we want to believe? Maybe. I guess if there's something in it for me and a few dollars or some sterling, I might be interested. Look, the events of late, of the last 10 years have shown us that the ancient prophecies have become fulfilled. The banking system. Oh yes, the fat cats have got fatter and the ordinary people are dying of starvation. Who's representing them? Who's speaking up for the marginalized in our society? The big corporations who use loopholes to avoid paying tax, and yet their shareholders stand by and watch innocent people lose everything. Is that fair play? No. So where is God in all of this mayhem that's going on in the world? Well, I have to be honest and say God is in the thick of it. God is trying to speak to us through one another. We try to connect as a community online every day, several times in fact, to try and bring messages of hope, to shoulder each other's burden. The cloud of unknowing around 2012 is a fear-induced mindset by people who pretend to know and don't. We will only know the significance of 2012 when we mirror, signal and maneuver. Remember when you learned to drive? We exaggerated, yes, the movements in order to pass our test for our examiner. We mirrored everything, we signaled everything, we maneuvered everything. We have to come into a place of stillness. We have to disconnect all the electronic gadgets. We have to open our heart. We have to trust. But today many people are afraid to trust because we've been so battered by well-meaning friends. We are afraid to speak our truth for fear of being ridiculed and annihilated. I know what that feels like. Because when I became mentally ill, 18 years ago, through taking a prescribed drug for reactionary depression to the death of a dear friend, it induced bipolar. And over a 4-year period, I came to lose everything. My job, my home, my status, everything. But God had a plan. He allowed that awful event to happen so that I could learn to walk again and become that child and trust in a Father, Mother, God who cares about me. At the time, I didn't want to hear that. But now today, having surrendered my heart, I've turned my back on the dramas of the world. People question me, why have you locked yourself away when you can do so much good with your life? But I've not locked myself away. I've locked you out. I've locked the dramas of the world out so as to protect the little sanity I've got. Because all I have to do is press a button, turn on the BBC World News, and before my eyes, I'm seeing evil being reenacted. I'm seeing killings, people dying. I'm seeing corruption, abuse, pedophilia, even the church, religious groups. The world is awash with evil. Not people who are evil, but awash with the influence of evil. And that's what the Antichrist wants. To get right in there. We've had it in the Teo community of St. Francis. We've had members who've become disgruntled because they couldn't get things done their way. So up and off. People who make a commitment, who surrender their heart to God, to be a vortex of light. That's until they're challenged. And then they huff and they puff. And they start sowing seeds of discontent because it's not going their way. That's not divine service. That's just unadulterated pure ego. But it's happening all over, not just in the Teo community. It's happening in politics, it's happening in society, it's happening in families. I always come back to that saying of my grandmother as a little boy growing up in Dublin. The family who pray together stay together. But what's prayer? Oh, we don't do prayer. I've got messages coming through. I've sat here one evening, several evenings, and some of our friends, when they come, you can't have a conversation because they're playing with their iPhone, the apps. Recently we had some relatives stop and each one had their mobile phone out, or their iPhone, or their iPad. And I sat there with my mouth wide open. There was no conversation, so I disappeared. And I wasn't missed because they were absorbed by their appliances. So what I'm saying is, let's come back to truth. Let's come back to who we truly are. Well, who am I? What is 2012? It's a heart-centered consciousness that will empower us, take back our power from people who've destroyed us, controlled us, or who are controlling us. It's a time when we can come into the presence of God and take our rightful place. Oh, but no, people don't want that because they'll accuse you of being religious or holy. I'm none of those things. Yes, I look holy. I'm not holy. I try to live a good life. But it's a challenge. Each day it's a challenge. Do I stay in bed or do I make an effort? What do I do? Who do I go to? The only person who's not let me down is the Christ. And I know that from my own experience, because I have committed the most heinous acts against myself, for denying myself, for saying I'd surrendered my heart when I was only giving lip service, but now I mean it. 2012, for you to experience that incredible shift of consciousness from negative energy to positive energy, from darkness to light, from fear to joy, and celebrate and dance with the spirits of nature, you have to do one thing. Use your gift of free will and surrender your heart to love. So in the cloud of unknowing around 2012, there is lurking in the wings a core belief that is about truth. And I'm not asking you to convert to the Teo community. I'm not asking you to become a Christian, a Jew, a Muslim, or a Hindu. I'm inviting you as a child of God. You may be a prostitute, a drug user, a drug pusher, a criminal, a convict, a lifer, a pedophile. It doesn't matter. What matters is your heart. Christ consciousness 2012 is about reawakening your heart to your truth and asking yourself, who am I really? And why am I here today? And if you can do that, then claim your abundance as a child of God. Come into your place of stillness and silence. Find that inner place. Connect with it. And call on the company of heaven. Call on the messengers of God. They're not for Catholics or Christians or Jews, because they do not represent religion. They represent love. And God is love. 2012, this year, is a pivotal year in our relationship with God. For 2,000 years, the Christ said that he would walk with us. It ends on the 21st of December, when we will see the cosmic Christ in glory. When we will enter a whole new dimension, but the mind can't comprehend it. The mind wants to know so that we can believe in it. But the heart already knows, but the mind won't allow it, accept it. Because the mind is responding to fear. The heart is responding to love. So there are two forces here. Yin yang, light day, positive, negative. And the two polarities are pulling us apart. And we have to come into the center and say, enough. I'm taking my power back. From whom? From our ego. And from anyone, anything that has tried to deceive us. This is a time when families will be turned in against each other. Where governments, countries, we're seeing it now. The Hurricane Sandy that we watched on our television sets that left us breathless. 9/11, for example. Man's inhumanity to man. That man can do that in the name of God. That's pure evil. And we have to wake up to the fact that we are living in a beautiful world, but there are other forces seeking to undermine God's gift to us. We are invited even now in the midst of this mayhem that many of us have caused through our lack of charity, our lack of love, our disrespect to the elements, our disrespect to ourselves. It's not too late. And 2012 is about embracing a mystery that has no beginning or end. That's my understanding of it. You enter a place within your being that is surreal. I have glimpses of it throughout the day. I have periods where I'm just basking in love, and then I'm basking in a nightmare. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to yourself to cut the cords of fear, or any person that has a hold on you. You could be in a loveless relationship, surrounded by all the materialism you could ever dream of. The yacht in Monte Carlo, the apartment in Saint-Tropez, and another one in LA. But if you're not happy and not living a fulfilled life, and there's no inner peace, what good is it having all of this? Isn't it better to have nothing, but have inner peace? Or is that the society that you've chosen? A society that is driven by labels, by fear, by drama? Or do you really want to come back to your heart? If you do, join me on live stream every night, midnight London time, 30 minutes. That's all. And we ask the Christ to come in. We ask him to speak through us, to share with you words that you need to hear that will empower you. Take back your power. There is no fear here. 2012 is about love. But is the world ready to embrace love? The whole of mankind, when you look at the faces, you see sadness, disappointment. You see a form of slavery being reenacted to fear. Let us stop. Let us be still. Let us come back to our heart and use the gifts that we were given, free will. And let us begin a new day by inviting, invoking, and asking for all the help that we need. And as soon as we put out that request, it will be answered. But if we don't, we'll just carry on as we're doing. Remember, in the cloud of unknowing in your mind around 2012, there is a spark, a ray of hope. Ask for the key to unlock the mystery. It's already there. It's already within you. And that's why I'm not allowed to tell anybody now who ask about 2012. They, like me, like you, have to find out for ourselves. And when we do, it will change our whole perspective. And I pray it does yours. I pray with all my heart that whoever you are, that you will come back to your heart. It is your teacher. It does not condemn you. It frees you. Thank you for watching. May God bless you.